I got one thumb so far. 2, 3, waiting on 2 more. Okay, here we go, if you're ready. Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here today. I am Jim O'Neill, and I'm the Forsyth County District Attorney. A video that has gone viral at a Parkland High School yesterday involving one of our teachers being assaulted has generated quite a buzz in the community and among law enforcement and among prosecutors and among teachers. So I've asked law enforcement to join me here today so we can speak to our teachers that are out there working every single day, trying to keep our kids educated and trying to keep them safe. We are not going to comment on the facts surrounding the video, so please keep that in mind with questions at the end. We just can't comment on those things. It's pending litigation. The video that was released yesterday, everyone has their own reaction to it, their guttural reaction. It is upsetting. Within an hour of that taking place, I received a call from Sheriff Kimbrough, who asked me to review the video to determine what, if anything, law enforcement and the District Attorney's Office could do about it. We have been in constant communication since yesterday afternoon. I have spoken with the teacher yesterday. Both Sheriff Kimbrough and myself spent the morning over at Parkland High School speaking with the teacher because we want one message to be delivered today, and that's this. This isn't about the color of your skin. This isn't about your political affiliation. Today is about one thing: sending a message to the teachers out there that law enforcement and the District Attorney's Office support you. We care about the job you do. Nobody goes to work and expects to get assaulted. We take allegations of this kind very seriously. And again, without commenting on the facts of this particular case, our job is to ensure that teachers feel supported. My own mother was a public school teacher for almost 40 years, and I would always expect and want her to feel supported and loved by the community. I can tell you, after speaking with the victim in this case, the outpouring of emotion and support that she has experienced in the last 24 hours is astonishing. I'm delighted to see this community rise up and support our teachers. They deserve it. They have a thankless job and a very difficult job. And when law enforcement and the District Attorney's Office get behind teachers, when they get behind their own law enforcement, we expect that the message that's delivered is that if you put your hand on law enforcement, or if you put your hand on a teacher, justice will be swift and mighty. Having said that, I'm now going to turn it over to my partner, Sheriff Kimbrough.
Appreciate that, Mr. O'Neill. Good afternoon. First of all, like most of you all that saw the video yesterday, you were horrified. I was too. Very deplorable. I still think I'm suffering from secondhand trauma after witnessing it. But my thoughts on that is this: after calling and speaking with the district attorney, speaking with the partners involved, my question is this: is that the community should be horrified. The community should be outraged. I know there are a lot of things in our society that used to be sacred, but something must remain sacred. Those that educate our children, those that give our children hope, must not go to work in fear of being assaulted, by no means. And so I stopped by today to support all of those that educate our children, to let them know that the Forsyth County Sheriff's Office, the District Attorney's Office, the Winston-Salem Police Department, we will not tolerate that. I know there are a lot of things going in our community, and some of you all or some people are probably saying, well, why this with all other things going on? Because what I witnessed yesterday, I still see it playing in my head. And when I sat with the teacher today, I'm amazed that she even showed up for work today. That took a lot. And so my message to the community is that we all have some type of ownership in making sure that this does not happen again in our school system. We must send a message collectively as teachers, as reporters, as board members, as superintendents. We have to send a message that resonates, that we will have zero tolerance, because we cannot sacrifice the many for a few. We cannot. And so that is my purpose for being here today, and I'll tender the mic to my partner in crime prevention, Chief Penn.
Good afternoon, William Penn Jr., Chief of Police of the Winston-Salem Police Department. I'm here standing in solidarity with my partners in crime fighting, Jim O'Neill, Forsyth County Sheriff's Office, and Bobby Kimbrough Jr., Forsyth County Sheriff. I share the same sentiment. The video was despicable, and it doesn't represent our community. It's called public safety because we all play a role. All of us will have to come together to ensure the safety of our community. To the teachers, we stand with you. Let's not forget our students who have to be traumatized by what they experienced yesterday. We stand with you. School is a sacred place where learning takes place, where there should be fond memories, and this does not represent this community. I ask that the community come together and show the same amount of vitriol that you would if you saw a video that showed law enforcement or any other group committing acts of violence. Turn it back over to my DA.
I would tell you that I have spoken with Superintendent McManus at length about this incident. I know that she supports this office and the decisions we have to make in terms of prosecution. I know that she supports our law enforcement partners as well. In speaking with the victim in this case, I'm going to do everything I can to protect her privacy. She just wants this case to move along as it would in the normal course of things. She was uninterested in having her name out there or her picture out there. And so I would ask that the media respect that request. There'll be a time when she will be in court, but she just requests her privacy right now, and you can understand that because that's a very tough video for people to see and then have to respond to. The message again to our teachers: you are loved and you are respected in this community. If you put your hand on a teacher, we will bring the weight of this office down on top of your head. I promise. If a teacher out there believes that they have been assaulted, the case is taken by Sheriff Kimbrough's school resource officers and presented to juvenile justice. Juvenile justice has the right to decline to accept the petition. If you are a teacher and you believe that your petition has been declined wrongfully, you have 5 days within receipt of that letter to take the case back to the Sheriff's Department. The Sheriff's Department will bring it to me personally, and if the evidence supports it, I have the last say. I decide whether or not the case goes forward. Teachers, you will be supported in Winston-Salem, Forsyth County school system. You'll be supported by this office and law enforcement standing behind me. Thank you all for being here. We'll take just a couple of questions. If you have any, please remember, I can't comment about the facts of this particular case. Yes, ma'am.
Are you able to tell us how many times the student has assaulted a teacher?
I cannot answer that question.
Can you confirm that they have assaulted?
I can't answer that question. The juvenile laws protect
Right.
the juvenile's record from being made public.
Can I ask possibly you or Sheriff Kimbrough, and it might fall under something you can't answer, but you know, there was about 40 seconds that unfurled on the video anyway. How quickly did your SROs or a person of authority become aware of when this incident took place?
Again, without going into the details of the case, because it is an ongoing case, an ongoing investigation. So if I were to give you that, I would be going into the investigation. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I'm wondering if you have any comment not only on the clearly horrifying assault, but the fact that it was videotaped at all, if there's any reaction from the office about that.
Well, I'll give you my personal opinion. We're living in a time of videos. We're living in a time of instant messaging. And so I know from having kids that was a part of the public school system, every other child, or basically every child, has a cell phone. And anytime something occurs, even as adults, the first thing we do is pull our phones out. So was I amazed by that? No. There are very few things that go on that are not recorded in a public setting, especially something of that magnitude.
Yes, ma'am.
As far as sharing the video is concerned, we spoke with the superintendent earlier, and she said that when it comes to a school district, you know, there are some consequences for students for sharing video. As far as the legal side of it, are there consequences for sharing videos like that? I'm just curious.
Are you talking about like from a student posting it out there?
Yes.
No,
Okay.
not in this case.
Can you say at all whether the teacher was in any way injured? I know you said she was back at work today, but was there any medical treatment required or anything like that?
I would tell you that she declined medical treatment.
Okay.
Are you all able
Even
to?
beyond the medical part of it, again, this is my personal opinion, but even beyond the medical part of it, think about the psychological effect that she will carry with her. It's the after effect. I witnessed the video, you all witnessed the video, but I promise you, you're still thinking about it. And when you saw it, you were like, oh my God. So think about being the victim of that, the psychological effect that she will have to carry.
Are you able to tell us what led up to that happening?
No, we're not trying to be difficult, but we have to protect the juvenile's right before they get to court. So that's the reason we can't comment on it or talk about the facts of the case.
I think anyone who saw the video was probably struck by the calm that the teacher showed. I wonder, any thoughts on just maybe the de-escalation tactics that she used instead of reacting? Any thoughts on just how she was able to handle that situation?
Well, I would
Probably diffuse it, but you know, then he went back for a second hit.
I would say in reference to the victim in this case, none of us know how we would react in that situation, but seeing her back at school today should give you some idea of what kind of person she is and the resilience that she feels about being a part of Parkland High School.
And we told her that, and I told her she's better than I am.
Is there a potential for the student to be tried as an adult?
Without talking about the facts of this particular case, okay, if in any case, if someone is charged with a petition, a juvenile petition, that is what would amount to a misdemeanor in Superior Court, the DA's office cannot bind assaults over like that to Superior Court. You know, in a follow-up comment to that, though, the legislature has got to do something about these kind of cases where teachers are assaulted. You know, we do an excellent job of protecting our law enforcement, but the legislature has to act. They have to increase the punishments. And by increasing the punishments, you give prosecutors another tool in their bag to use in determining what charges are appropriate. And so I call to our local legislators, I call to every legislator across the state. We have to protect those that are going into our school system and trying to teach and trying to keep control of classrooms, because you don't ever want to see a teacher assaulted. Yes, ma'am.
Although it's still very, preliminary and everything that's happened, with your call to action that you just had, do you see there being any differences in the classrooms to try to protect the teachers? Or, without going into the case of like, oh, this student is known to maybe be a little bit more aggressive, we're gonna remove them from the classroom?
I'm so sorry, I missed the beginning part of your question.
Although it's still in the early stages with everything, do you see there kind of being another barrier put in place to protect the teachers in the school?
Do we have another barrier?
Or do you see a plan? Like, do you think you guys would come up with a plan, or going on your call to action that you just had?
I think that if there is, this is a general comment about society, not talking about the facts of this case, okay? If there's no fear of real consequences, of real punishment, what kind of message do we send to all of society? They can only do as much as they can do, and we can only deal with what the law allows us to do. But across the board, there has to be some sense of fear of consequences so that people can conform their behavior and their conduct to what the rest of us feel is acceptable.
Going off of that, do you expect, or do you guys have some sort of plan to maybe have more law enforcement at schools, whether it's Parkland or just other schools in the school district?
I'm going to let them address that, but I will say this much. When you look at, not commenting on the facts of this particular case, but I review video as the district attorney on a monthly basis from sheriff's deputies, police officers that are out there on our school campuses. And when fights occur on school campus, assaults occur on school campuses, you have oftentimes one police officer, one sheriff's deputy surrounded by 40 kids. So would I be in favor of seeing more school resource officers allocated to our schools? Absolutely. Because you can't help but watch those videos that I've seen over the years and think to yourself, if this situation went south, that deputy, that police officer, they're on their own. You want to comment further on the SROs?
So I think you have to understand the way the SRO contract works before I could actually speak to that. My opinion, of course I would love to help SROs, more SROs in the school. You're talking about a high school that currently has 1,600 students there now. 1,600. And so if you go on the ratio with the national ratio, 1 per 500. So we should at least have 3 there if you look at it from that perspective. I think that you need SROs in schools. I know there's a thought out there that you don't want to give schools a look of locking them down. But I think that we're in a place in our society, not think, the numbers show, we're in a place in our society where our schools have to be safe. It is a must. It is a must. And I think the SROs in the schools are there just for one purpose. That's to make sure that it is a place of learning, a place where education goes forward, and to make sure that the faculty as well as the students are safe. So our plan going forward, to answer your question, of course, we're going to stretch one more time to put, because we're coming to the end of the year, the weather is changing, students are ready to get out of class, a lot of things are going on that come from the community that works its way back into the schools. disagreements. So our plan is to stretch one more time and add some resources to the schools. Yes. Sure, Chief.
And the police department will continue being partners with our Forsyth County Sheriff's Office. But to your question about more law enforcement, will it be more law enforcement? It might be time to pivot and have a conversation to taking care of business in the homes and starting with the foundation of what we're talking about here. So we'll be here, and Sheriff's right. We're going to stretch and we're going to stretch because we're going to do everything we can for our community. But as I stated earlier, it's public safety. And everyone has a role in the safety of this community, and everyone has to step up to the plate.
What are your suggestions for that? I mean, y'all do what you can, you do what you can, we report what we can. I mean, we all try as a community to try to, get these conversations started within the homes. What can the community do to help all of us towards that common goal?
So I know you can't mandate or regulate what goes inside of people's houses. You can't do that. We all raise our kids how we raise our kids. That's a conversation I wouldn't even get involved in. What I'm saying is, when I say that it's going to take community participation for all this to happen, I'm talking about everything from volunteerism. You can volunteer in the schools. You can volunteer to be a hall monitor. Just go and ask to be a volunteer, pass the background checks. I think that a lot of things that, before they get to this place, there's something that we can do at the ground level, because I don't think someone wakes up one morning and decides, hey, I want to go do something like this. It's a process that takes them to that place. So there has to be a cultural shift. There has to be an atmosphere shift in order to change what's happening, not only just here, but in our society.
Anything further? Okay, well, we hope again that the message that we've delivered here today is that our teachers, our administrators that are out in these schools, you deserve to feel safe. We are here to protect you, and we're here to see that you're never assaulted when you go to work. And we do want to remind people, if you put your hands on a teacher, it's the same as if you put your hands on one of these officers. The district attorney's office will come down. We will bring the weight of this office down on top of you. So you should have fear of consequences. Thank you all for being here.